Welcome to tonight's ISTE VEN focus session. ISTE is the International Society for Technology and Education, and VEN is the Virtual Environment Network, which is a professional learning network within ISTE. The focus sessions are held monthly, usually on the third Tuesday of the month, and they feature noted practitioners of education in virtual worlds. Tonight's focus session features Vinhold Starbrook, who will compare virtual world simulators like OpenSimulator and Halcyon. VEN's typist, Bob Curtis, has been a resident of Second Life since 2006 and has been a software developer for business since 1983. If time permits, we'll take a field trip at the end to his Discover Creo Mundos Halcyon world, a demo world for real-world applications. I was there a couple days ago, and it looks really interesting. Ben, over to you.
Thank you, Beth. I have a little disclaimer to begin with here, as my graphical skills are quite limited. I only have information slides and as text, and as you see on my opening slide here, this is about the extent of my skills, not very much, at trying to use fonts to portray some of the concepts involved here, but I make an effort. That's about as far as I can get. Yes, and if you're not seeing a slideshow up on there, you might want to activate it because this is a MOAP display, and we're bringing these in from a web page triggered system. This whole system I have here is web page operated interface for giving presentations in the virtual world. So we're using some of the same technology and tools that I demonstrated the last presentation I gave here for this group almost a year ago, where it was the world beyond click for interactivity and being able to do things in a virtual world. Now this time we're going to look at what are the virtual world environments we have outside of Second Life. Well, Second Life has been a great virtual world since it was opened. Prices for land have gone down a little bit. It's still expensive to have your own private land in it. Are there options for having your own world space that is like or compatible with Second Life? Answer, yes. There are options depending on what you want to accomplish in your world, and we'll have a look at some of that information. Little background. Excuse me. Most of you know about the OpenSim option. There is an established community that has grown up with it, a number of worlds using that simulator or variations of it. The focus of its development was to see if there was a way to create a simulator that was compatible with Second Life. I recently discovered that its code was more of an intellectual exercise by several professors and computer programmers that started the project, intended to be flexible in its design. Since then, a different set of developers have taken over the work on OpenSim software. In 2010, a difference of views and direction with OpenSim devs and the InWorlds team over how to improve simulator operational efficiency, adding in full support for commercial operation, and implementing the SL permission system. The OpenSim developers would have none of it. So the InWorlds forked their own version and continued their work independently. Since 2010, a few other notable forks of OpenSim have been made. Some still exist, some died out. The InWorlds team opened their simulator version as Halcyon in 2015 on the GitHub repository. This was so the team could work with the Moses project, which was doing training for the US military. It was through the work provided by Moses project that Halcyon gained the needed security updates required by the military. After InWorlds collapsed and closed in the summer of 2018, my son was made project overseer for Halcyon And a new entry on GitHub was created for it called Halcyon Grid, where updates to it added branding for individual world use, removing the hard-coded in-world's name and elements, making those all configuration options. Halcyon provides built-in commercial operation and SSL encryption for simulator-to-viewer communications. Another addition from Moses was a FreeSwitch voice interface. They basically re-integrated it. If a secure voice switch is required, though setting up the voice server can try the patience of your server admin. I still haven't had tried that myself. That was kind of beyond my expertise in dealing with servers. What I would like to present to you this evening are some of the main features that differ between the OpenSim and Halcyon simulators. This is to provide you with information on how you may be able to run your own school worlds with 10 or more regions at less cost per month than 1 or 2 SL regions. Might even be set up using an older server the school may be removing from service. A number of useful options. Okay, let's take a look. OpenSim versus Halcyon. What are they like? Compare. What are the options? Installation process. Number one point of interest. Installation program for OpenSim, which can be done on personal computers or servers. It's fairly simplistic, has a one program install option. Halcyon. Installation is possible to set up on a personal computer, only supporting the grid mode operation. It's intended to be run on servers set up by a server administrator. I have set up a single region Halcyon world on my desktop computer, but it took me just about as much work as it does for setting up a server with 10 regions on it. So right up front, it's not a friendly, you can do it yourself at home unless you're a server admin and can follow some complex instructions. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of this program. Okay, next slide. OpenSim. Region crossings can take a few seconds, so the implementation of variable-sized regions was added in. For Halcyon, region crossings are fast enough to hardly notice them, about the same as they are in Second Life, if not possibly faster. The result is the variable-sized regions were not implemented. It simply wasn't needed. So you do have only the 256 size regions, and in that way becomes very much identical to Second Life as far as land's concerned. Next slide. The community. OpenSim community is large and well established. Halcyon, we have commercial-based community support that is being created and is growing with new commercial worlds that are real-world business extensions. At least most of them so far are that way. And let's see. I'm trying to work between two screens here, so it gets a little interesting at times. Okay, there we go. Content availability. For OpenSim, content generally is free, but may have to be verified for source validity. There's a lot of content available. Unfortunately, is stolen from Second Life creators by copybot operations. Legit content tends to be old SL styles from around 2008. Only the Ruth 2.0 mesh body is legitimate. I've heard of some others, but I have not seen them. Any use or any bodies using the name of Athena, Adonis, or derived from those are stolen Maitreya bodies and Katwa heads from Second Life. So you got to know what you're getting into and where you're getting it from. For Halcyon side, Content sources may be free sources from OpenSim if you want it. A Halcyon startup kit or is available for new Halcyon worlds, providing acceptable, better quality items for creating avatars and some building elements with things to put in them. Most of these are derived from Zataru and the Linda Kelly collections. I went through and filtered out the best of the quality of stuff that was produced by those sources and provided that in there. And some others that have been working with the Halcyon system have added their own contributions to the collection, and it's still growing. Most OpenSim ORs will import to Halcyon regions correctly. Some may have errors, and very few of the OpenSim scripts will work without corrections applied. More on scripting issues a little bit later. Okay. Did I miss something in here? I hope I didn't, because
I think you just skipped over the marketplace slide. I saw it flash on
did
there
you see
briefly.
that flash by? Thank
Yeah.
you, because I was sitting going, wait a minute, that wasn't the one I was looking for. We'll step back a moment here and see. There it is, marketplace options. Okay, OpenSim. An add-in marketplace website option is based on the old SL Market. If you remember that, had to use prims and scripts to get objects to show up on the store web pages, but it's not generally used very much that I know of at this point. The Kitely Marketplace can deliver to OpenSim worlds. For Halcyon, Mundos Market is being created that will provide quality commercial goods for member Halcyon-based worlds. Note that Kitely Marketplace is data incompatible with Halcyon worlds and cannot deliver to them. Okay. Let's see, look at that. Okay, now we got. It's doing this double on me every time. I don't know what for. Okay, interworld travel. Optional use of the OpenSim hypergrid, allowing travel between OpenSim worlds by any account, exists. On Halcyon, the Halcyon simulator does not support any interworld travels. When a way is found that provides for content security, then the option will be developed. It will be more like internet identity abilities that Google or FB or Facebook provides. You're familiar with how you can identify your things for accounts, and you can authenticate with your Google or your PayPal or whatever. There's a number of different services at this point. That's the general concept we're thinking of for Halcyon development for identity. The addition to that is how to carry your avatar. Yeah, exactly, Beth. Sign in with Google or Facebook or something. I've seen this turning up all over the place now. But we need to be able to contain your avatar's appearance with that, but not be able to transport any content between worlds that you visit, or leave behind whatever you happen to have with your avatar in any world. So those are the kind of basic things. And in the future for commercial applications, because quite simply, I'm targeting Halcyon use for real world applications as potentially the next level of internet in 3D. And businesses can use the technology we have now to run and operate and extend their business education and educational options and websites. So anyway, we'll discuss that more a little bit later on. Okay, let's see what we get for next slide. Okay, right again. Well, operations support. Okay. No commercial operation built in for OpenSim. Optional additions for Globit currency exchange, Action with Kitely Marketplace. The general OpenSim community opposes commercial operation, strongly promoting open share, free content, and no economies. Some worlds have used OpenSim and have set up their own marketplaces, and some of them are doing okay, some of them are not. For Halcyon side, you have full commercial operation is built in with world money subject to fine-sin rules. No Globit support, as it's simply not needed. The Halcyon community supports commercial operation and will soon have Mundos Market operating for the support of member Halcyon-based worlds. We vote for products with our money. You might refresh your play button up in the upper right corner of your viewer if it's you're using Firestorm. It looks like a play or stop or play. That's basically the refresh MOAP access. Sometimes clicking on the screen itself will take care of it. Okay, so now we get to scripting. OpenSim scripting is mostly compatible with SL scripts, but the reverse is not true. OpenSim scripts will only run in OpenSim worlds without modification, at least some significant rewriting, depending on the source of the script. Halcyon SL scripts will run in Halcyon worlds most of the time. Not all of the LSL script functions have been implemented yet. Scripts made in Halcyon worlds will work in SL as long as no IW functions were used in them. The IW functions are extended LSL functions that parallel the OS functions found in OpenSim, but may differ on their options and implementation requirements. A lot of that had to do with the permissions and security issues and who had permissions to use functions rather than it just being open access use. Okay. Next entries. Website options. The slides are supposed to come up within about 2 seconds of my clicking the next button, and should be taking long enough between slides for you to be able to see them. Take usually about 2 to 3 seconds to show up on the display. Okay. Good. OpenSim. Some independent website sources are available to front end an OpenSim world. Support may be provided by their creators. I have not found anything other than a Joomla extension set. When I did originally start my work, I was searching for the OpenSim based websites and any support, and at that time I simply could not find anything. I did find some of the Joomla options, but I was not interested in using Joomla as a website front end. So for Halcyon, I have created the My World source open source project to be a website front end for Halcyon worlds and its management. It's a work in progress, providing support for page content entry and the grid management tools, all built in as one package. Okay, next slide. Voice. This one's simple. OpenSim and Halcyon both support Vivox voice connection. Halcyon has a free switch. OpenSim used to have free switch. Don't know what its status is. Okay, next slide. Noted issues. Not everything works perfectly the way you would like them to, so here's a few of the thorns in the flesh, you might say. For OpenSim, the amount of content in a region will tend to lag the viewer and the server. The number of users in a world will lag the server. On Halcyon, The amount of content in a region will only slow the region startup. The number of users connected is limited by server's bandwidth. Otherwise, so far, I haven't been able to see any significant difference on how many users you want to cram onto a Halcyon-based server, other than the bandwidth issue. So that needs a little bit more study and investigation to see what its impacts are. And next slide. Continuing. This is about groups. OpenSim had lagged behind in implementing the group options for a long time. When I started with it, it didn't have groups implemented. I think they are now working, but I have no direct knowledge of how well or how much they can be used. Reliance on the old admin God mode is needed to fix issues in regions, allowing change of object ownership and creator identifiers. This does create some problems with creator rights and use requirements. Permissions implementation is loose and has had a lot of resistance to them by the community. And this is a time-based perception, not necessarily an identity of what's happening in OpenSim right now. The newer, on Halcyon side, the newer SL features for grid managers, group abilities are fully supported. Landowners have more direct control of lands as they do in Second Life, supplanting the need for the old admin modes. Halcyon does not support the administrator God mode options. It will allow you and the viewer to try to connect with it, but you basically get nothing out of it. Nothing will work. Okay, next slide. Grid for OpenSim. Grid operational connection security is something the world owner has to work out. Moses project could not get the OpenSim devs to make required changes to support connection security. For Halcyon, the connection security is supported thanks to the contributions from the Moses project. FreeSwitch Voice provides an option where voice must be secured. But the world owner has to install the required voice support software. Yeah. As far as I know, that is a separate voice service providing server that you have to have set up for it. Okay. OpenSim regions require a regular schedule for restarting and use of OR file backups. A regular reloading schedule is used to reduce dead content. For the Halcyon regions have been known to run for over a year without a restart. System backups of the DB and assets are all that is required to completely restore the world or even to relocate to new servers. You can OR back up any particular region if you want to and restore it back. And that is sometimes needed in world operations. But Halcyon does not support IAR exports or imports. Again, it has to do with content security issues. Okay. And now what they have here, I just set up this, is Discover Creo Mundos, real-world applications in a virtual world. Some of the other things here I've noted, while OpenSim development has been easy to install and operation by virtually anyone, it has limitations on how large a world can be operated with it and how to manage the world. Those that I know who are using OpenSim and are running large worlds usually have to make extensive modifications to the code in order to make it work at all. I have set up Halcyon World with one region on my desktop computer. The install process, as I mentioned before, was about as much work as a full server world with 10+ regions. Halcyon has no problems with running on multi-server configurations supporting over 1,000 regions. N-Worlds proved that very well. The only problem was their choice of using cloud servers for asset stores and expensive servers to run the region simulators. And that's one of the reasons why they collapsed. I found using fast, larger capacity hardware servers that run VMware, providing the ability to run multiple virtual servers to be much more cost-effective in management control. I offer Halcyon installation services for any sized world, rates depending on world size and the number of servers required. Since 2017, I have installed and set up about 20 Halcyon worlds from a single server 10 regions to 10 servers and 1,000+ region capacities. Anyone who would like to have a private world for their school students at any level of education will find Halcyon Simulator to be an excellent choice, with much more capabilities than renting spaces in Second Life. I still offer the option for ISTE to place an educational example in the Discover Creo Mundos world, our flagship project to demo real-world applications in a virtual world. If the ISTE groups and SL were interested in the creation of a dedicated educational world, that could be done for about the same cost as a region in SL, but you would have to have at least 10 regions of space to use and expand as you like. Use a small space in SL to advertise your own product or projects and information. Basically, give you some elbow room to actually do some fun things. Well, the question for that is, does somebody have a viewer that they want to write that would run on a Chromebook? Right now, the viewer options are limited to, should it just skip my mind? Lumia? Somebody help me on that one. What is it they like to use on phones and small devices? It's extremely limited. The mythical web-based viewer is still pretty much a myth. Everybody who's made an attempt at trying to do it runs into serious limitations of browsers and the ability to handle data traffic flow. And so that has yet to go anywhere. We've had some pretty good expansions on possibilities, but it's simply not happening to do it at this point. I do believe that OpenSim has a useful place in the virtual world structure and applications. My presentation reflects some of my opinions as well as known facts about OpenSim software and its community. Due to the very different views of the two simulator communities, I do not present this information to any of the OpenSim forums or worlds. What they do not know in this case will not disturb them. I do not wish to upset those who do not want virtual worlds to be commercially operated. Quite a few members in the OpenSim community were very upset with the path InWorlds took in 2010, hated its rapid success and long life, rejoicing much at its end in the summer of 2018. I do not think it would be useful at this point to publish what I am presenting. As much like the mythical Hydra, the ideals of InWorld have been reborn with many heads. For those who have planned a tour of Discover Creo Mundos, we can meet up there now. I can also remain in SL for any other questions and discussion. So that's basically, hopefully, some idea of what's available for use, and that if you have school requirements that need more security, thanks to the Moses Project effort, that security option now exists and can be made use of. And if anybody's familiar with the Moses Project and the military training that they had, they had tried to work with OpenSim for several years, and then they switched over all of their efforts to running on Halcyon in 2018 or 2017. No, correction, 2015. And it was shortly after that that they got it up and running, and then we're working on a lot of features. Ran on Halcyon for almost a year, And then when their project leader retired from the military, the Moses project essentially came to an end. And I believe one of our members here in this group is the current one who is holding all of the work that Moses did. And I, for the life of me, is just
Are you thinking of Lear Lobo?
Lear is associated with her. I believe the lady was a student of Lear.
Okay.
And I'm checking something to see. Barbara Truman. I don't remember.
Yeah, Delightful Dewwangle.
Yes, Delightful. She's currently the last holder of the Moses Project version of software and grid setup. And I'm hoping that at some point they might be able to figure it out. I've offered to her a few times to set it up and get it running. So I know how the guy set it up and on the hardware he put it on and why he did it. But I could get that up and running within a short period of time and they could start playing with it again. So anyway, that is what I have for the moment. If there's any other questions or those who would like to go and join me in Discover Creo Mundos, have a little bit of a tour around there and you can see how a world runs. It's running on the Halcyon system. And you can use Firestorm Viewer to do it, but you have to use the OpenSim download. And I do have instructions on the website for that.
Instructions are in the note card in the box too.
Right.
In the ISTE box.
So I'll get myself logged in over there real quick here. I can run 2 viewer sessions on this computer, okay. Any more than that, and it gets pretty lagged out. Didn't get a chance to fire up my other system, which is a little more powerful, and I can run 6 systems, or 6 viewers at the same time. Doesn't mean I can keep up with them all. Okay, Day. Talk to you again sometime. Yes, for those who are getting set up with it right now, and I'm just getting logged in over there.
I'm in the welcome area right now.
Yes, my wife was doing some stitching over in the dining area, and
Is that what that
sometimes
was?
the microphone wants to keep ramping up the volume so that
Right.
it picks up any available sound, so I'll have to keep my mic turned off a bit.
I guess I was thinking about all of the engines that you brought last year to ISTE. I wasn't imagining something as prosaic as a sewing machine. You know what I need in this world is an AO.
Okay, your voice does work, so you can turn it on in Creo Mundos.
Now it's grayed out for me. Let me check my preferences.